Hey everyone, welcome. Just want to give everyone 1 or 2 more minutes and then we can get started. So, share my screen. How's everyone doing? Can everyone hear me? If there's any connectivity problems, please let me know. Okay, guys. I think we can probably get started. Let me pull up some of the questions. Okay. So let's go through everything. So let's go through all the questions and then let's see. I know you're all asking me to do overviews, so I can just share with you my thoughts. But honestly, in like a few very simple minutes, I will just reiterate what I've been saying for the last several months, is that I'm still not expecting any fireworks with altcoins for the foreseeable future. We're just going to continue being range bound until I feel that the geopolitical situation starts to stabilize with potentially the conclusion of the Russia-Ukraine war. You potentially have the US Federal Reserve that's going to pivot away from quantitative tightening into hopefully at least some steady state stabilization of their policies and everything that they're doing. And then from a monetary policy standpoint, and then hopefully stop selling so much of their cumulative assets, because you can see when you look at this chart I've shown you all many times, but it's so incredibly relevant to where we are now, right? And I've been talking about this for like I don't know how many years at this point, but you can just see that in the past, when the US Federal Reserve has been in quantitative easing, crypto has tended to do particularly well. And we've never really experienced a crypto up only cycle other when we've been in quantitative tightening. It's always been quantitative easing or steady state policies. And that means that they're just not selling so much of their assets. They're not selling so much of their mortgage-backed securities and treasuries. And the good news is they're starting to sell less and less. So that's very good news. This is something that I've been waiting for, and I've talked about here. And you can see that this shows the total assets that the U.S. Federal Reserve has minus the consolidating ones, and you can see the change, right? So you can see the actual millions and billions units of change every month, year over year. So, and what you'll see this on a weekly basis, but then graphed out on a monthly basis. But you can see the rate of decline is decreasing. So basically means that they're selling less and less of their assets every month, which is very good, right? Which is, I think, very good for us. So we just want this to just continue. Want this to continue at this pace. And you could see when you look at the chart, you could see where we are now. It's starting to finally sort of shift to a sideways, much more steady state type of policy that's being implemented now. So hopefully this continues for the next several weeks to several months, and then hopefully around April, May, June, they announced that they're not going to be selling anymore. And I don't expect them to be cutting interest rates, but I do expect them to stop selling so much. And I just hope that that happens this year, midway this year, and doesn't happen next year. I just don't want them to continue selling it going into 5 trillion. That's what concerns me. Is part of me is thinking that they're probably, there's definitely a scenario where they don't stop selling their assets until we get to 5 trillion. Because where we were pre-COVID, we were at less than 5 trillion. And then after COVID, we went from 4.5 trillion all the way up to 7, and then all the way up to 9. So they've already wiped out $2 trillion worth of assets using their type of quantitative tightening policies. So I just don't want, if we continue at this rate, it'll reach 5 trillion by the end of next year. And I just don't want that. I don't want them to try to reach pre-COVID, asset levels. To me, that wouldn't make any sense. My first hopeful stopping point was 6.9, and we already crossed that now. Now we're going lower and lower. So maybe they stop at 6.5, 6.6. I mean, we'll see. But that's my hope. So hopefully that makes sense. And then where we are with Bitcoin, it's exactly what I've been saying. Is I just don't expect Bitcoin to leave this range for the next little while. It'll continue to stay between 90 and 105,000. It's been in this range for as long as I've been talking about this, which has been literally going to our 4th month now that it's been in this range. Now, I really don't want it to fall below 91. So I just feel like I'm like a broken record at this point. But honestly, it's just so consistent. Like, this is what I predicted would happen, and this is what's happened. So like 9 out of 9 times now, we've successfully secured and defended this support level at 92,000. I want us to continue to maintain it. If we don't, then it's just dead space, right? There's really nothing else to it. Bitcoin dominance is going back up, which is not particularly good for altcoins, which is again why I keep saying I'm not expecting fireworks for altcoins. It's not altcoin season yet. And I think I've done my best to try to explain that through the audio updates, through the market analysis, through looking at the market scorecard. I've really been doing everything I possibly can to try to just be consistent in how everything is being shown. But, metric 14 still has not flipped green, which is altcoins are still not showing, sustained strength against Bitcoin. The dollar cost index is not, it's still above 100, right? But it peaked at around the same level as we were expecting, which was like around 109. You could see that. So, I mean, we're right on target, I would feel, in terms of us hopefully breaking this level. That would be incredible, right? Below 100, but at least it's trending down, which is good. And then we're still not green on metric 44 or 45. And the point of 44 and 45 is to just see the performance of the crypto index versus the stock index. Like, are we outperforming equities? Are we outperforming traditional stocks and equities and precious metals and commodities? And are we outperforming the traditional market, right? And right now, we're not. So it's just how it is. Like we were at one point, we were trending higher and higher since January of 2023, but then we were rejected. So we were rejected at the prior highs. It's unbelievable how consistent it is. And then if you see, this is what we were last time. The last time we weren't rejected when we were hitting the prior high, and we continued going higher. And if that was the case, then we would have peaked in May. But that's not where we are now. This is a different market cycle. Times are different in some context. So in terms of this is absolutely critical for us for this to flip green, and the same thing for the total crypto market to outperform the Nasdaq. It hasn't happened yet, and we peaked right around the same prior highs from 2021. It's just in the past that wasn't the case. In the past, when we were hovering around the prior all-time high, we broke it, and we continued going higher and higher, and then we tapped out around 142. So, but we're not there yet. We're not there yet. So I'm just, until these metrics start flipping green, I'm just going to continue focusing on building, researching, the Alpha Hunter. Alpha Hunter to me is worth the majority of my time and blood, sweat, and tears and effort, because I feel like it can provide the highest ROI for us. And then the last metric, 47, I just went through with the balance sheet. So hopefully that helps. If there are any other questions, just ask them. So I think we can just go through the live stream questions. So Would you recommend some real world asset projects that are still cost effective to buy today? So, or ones that have great risk reward for a while. So, yeah. So, the ones that I like, it's still the same ones I like, but the problem is, is this the time to buy them? I think that's the better, it's the better question, right? But if you go here and you look at what RWA projects I have listed here. So here. So I still like these three. I still like these three for sure. I like IX Swap. That's definitely one of my favorites. I like OBOT. I like the rebrand of Maple Finance. That to me was one of my favorite RWA projects. Um, I like OBOT. Obortech. I talked about this before. It sort of died and then revived and then died and then revived. But it just to me, it's like 1.3 million market cap. I know the founding team. I know the leadership team. I met with them. I spoke with them. They were actually legitimately working um, on real world asset applications, real solutions. To me, this could be a very attractive R&R, like where the risk is absolutely worth the potential reward that would come from it. I mean, this could be because this was supported by a United Nations fund as well, but it just hasn't taken off. Like it peaked around here, and then it just sort of collapsed, right? I mean, it's down 96%, just like the majority of assets right now in crypto. They're down like 90 to 99%. It's unbelievable. So I like these projects. I like Obortech. The other ones that I like, I'll show you. Those are four that I just mentioned. And then here, these ones. So these are all two high market cap. No. Pendle I've talked about before. I like Pendle. That's like a pseudo RWA. I like Origin Trail. This was one of my favorite RWA projects that I was invested in. And TopHat. There was a few other projects involved now with Origin Trail, like NewDAO. So NewDAO and CRISPR AI are now partnering with Origin Trail, which is one of the largest DeSci/RWA projects. So I really like that one. And then I like Zebek Network is also legitimate as well. And it's accomplished quite a bit already. You can see it's already on my list. Clearpool as well. Maple Finance, the rebrand to Syrup. I talked to you about that before. Centrifuge was well known and one of the first. And I think it's still listed on Coinbase. And it's still below 100 million. Used to be listed on. And then TrueFi as well. TrueFi had some challenges and some problems initially, but now I think it's improved. And then I used to love Relio Network. I can't believe some of these still have survived. Boson Protocol also. This was on my list for a long time. Ribbon Finance too, but you'd have to check in to see because they're part of the Coinbase Ventures portfolio, and see they're already listed on Coinbase. I see this one's interesting. Like it's listed on Coinbase, but it's not listed on any other. This is probably the smallest, lowest market cap RWA project listed on Coinbase only. It's not even listed on Binance or Kraken or Bitstamp or KuCoin or any other prominent tier 2, tier 3 exchange, which is interesting. I wonder if it's still, if it's still trading. Okay, so they rebranded to Avo, yeah, but this did well and then died, right? Yeah, this is the problem. I mean, it must be down 95, yeah, 95, 96% here. So this could potentially be interesting if they're continuing to build and scale and grow. So when did they last post? That's not good. That's not good. But let me see. If I go to Avo, Did they last post? Oh no, so they've been posting through Avo now. But how are they using the Ribbon Finance coin? That would be my question. Because I think Avo, yeah, Avo's a separate coin. But I would definitely look at this. I used to like Ribbon. See, Avo's not listed on Coinbase, but Ribbon is. So I'd have to look into that for sure. Okay. So what are some other questions? Yo, bro, you still think long-term SOL target is 1,000K? Not 1,000K, but $1,000. Or what's happening recently? We're not even going to hit the $400 mark. What's the new tech in play? Monad, Sonic. So yes, I do believe Solana is going to hit 1,000 to 2,000. I know that just still sounds outrageous, but I do believe that it conservatively can hit $1,000, and maybe more optimistically, it can hit 2,000. The blockchains that I'm interested in right now are still interested in Solana, interested in Base, interested in Abstract, interested in Monad. But Monad is not a mainnet, it's not a token yet. It's just that it's purely in testnet. So I created a thread here called Monad Ecosystem, and then I explain very clearly how to get started. So if you just scroll all the way up, it just shows you exactly how to do it. The problem they're having right now, though, is their faucet is not working. So if you're just setting it up now, you're not going to be able to get tokens that easily. But these are the main protocols that or the apps that I'm focusing on, like NadFun, Kizzy, Magic Eden, and Fantasy Top. These are the different apps on Monad that potentially will be interesting. And my hope is that I can farm for experience points or farm for projects for the hope of being able to get some type of airdrop in the future when they switch over to the mainnet, which we don't exactly know yet. The other problem with them is that the Monad Discord is completely full, so there's no room. And then the only other option is you join their dev Discord, but you can't even post anything in their dev Discord around faucet tokens or mainnet or testnet tokens. So that makes it challenging. And then, so yeah, I think that's pretty much all you need to know. Once you connect Monad, you should be able, if you wait 12 to 24 hours, you should be able to see a few Monad test tokens that you can use. I don't know why they're being so strict about the test tokens. I've never really seen that in a project. They should be a lot easier and a lot more accessible. Because right now, if you go to their testnet, and you'll see this error here. So the faucet's receiving a surge of activity. Infrastructure providers are working to scale up performance. Thanks for your patience. So you just can't. This is the challenge, right? Should be able to just connect to a faucet, get some testnet tokens, and then just start using. And I'm trying the build angle too, but it's challenging. So yeah, you see. So it's still not working, I think, as intended. I think I have some Monad tokens on another wallet, but this wallet should definitely be getting them in the next 12 to 24 hours. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. And then for the people who joined, just if you have any questions, just ask them in the chat or ask them in the thread, and then I'll take a look. So also much more optimistic with ETH running up 10K. I don't know. I don't know these targets. Like, I don't really worry about targets so much. I just worry more about the ratios. So, for example, when the market peaks, I would feel that the others Bitcoin around 0.32 is when I'm going to start de-risking aggressively if we ever get back to those levels. So right now it's at 0.14. And yeah, what's up, babe?
Are we going to be in Santa Barbara on Sunday night?
Okay, one second. Sorry, guys. So then 0.14 is where we're at now. My worst case, it's still can't believe that we're actually like, going to potentially hit it. My worst case was 0.12 to 0.08, and it seems like we may need to bottom at that level. That was my absolute worst case target. If you go back to my old market analysis from like more than a year ago, I always said the worst case scenario is we might need to go down to 0.08. And maybe we just have one last altcoin purge, because we had this breakout and then now we've been rejected. And now we're going back down. So this is the reason I've been very apprehensive in saying it's altcoin season. And I've been following the scorecard because it helps me just not rely on this one metric alone. But in terms of where the targets are, when let's say we flip back up and then we go up to 0.32 by the end of this year, or like midpoint, beginning to mid 2026. Whatever the levels are at that point is where I would probably look to exit. But I still look at Ethereum realistically hitting 8,000 to 13,000. I don't see how that's not possible. Like, considering everything that they've been doing and accomplishing, I don't see how that's not possible to hit at realistic levels. Interested on your thoughts on whether on-chain meme coins have their time. It's time to shift to utility and other matter. I think it's very important to have exposure to both, because trying to time when it's going to be meme coin season, when it's going to be utility season, when it's going to be like Sonic season. Oh, it's Sonic's another blockchain, Infinity, that I am focusing on. You can see that we're in the thread as well. So I would definitely recommend you join the thread and just jump in. You don't need to. It had a really, I think, fairly terrible launch. It's a slow start, but now you can start seeing that some of the cumulative amount of funds are shifting and bridging over to Sonic from Solana and from Base and from Ethereum, which is good. So I think those are all very good signs. Net bullish for Sonic. And so, yeah, I think it's important to have exposure to both. Like, there's definitely going to be another meme coin mania. So I wouldn't worry too much about all of this depressive, negative content you're seeing around Pump Fund and around Pump Fund being bad. I still contend and I still argue that the Trump launch is going to lead to more net positives in the long term. And I was always adamant on the fact that short term it's going to be bearish, and it's going to have adverse effect on the health and the prosperity of the market. But long term, it's bringing on the most users. It's stress testing the applications. It's making sure that everything is battle tested. It's getting as much exposure and as much talk and discussion about the market that it ever has. So it's bringing a huge amount of press, some of it negative, some of it positive. But in the end, it's bringing more eyeballs and more impressions and more awareness towards crypto as a sector. Problem is, some of the nature of that is gambling, speculative, like betting, and we don't want that. And I think people were hoping that Trump would mention the Trump coin, but I don't think he's actually legally allowed because of everything that's tagged with like the different emolument clauses, and you're not allowed to talk about it. This is the problem, right? Because there's these emolument like clauses. So like these for the president, that you're not allowed. These emolument clauses are not. You're not allowed as the president to have any type of influence in any way, financial or monetary or policy wise, on others. So they can't gift you certain things. They can't. So you can't just start like shilling and promoting your Trump coin, because other heads of states are going to start buying that token in the hope of getting your attention and in the hope of being able to influence you into doing something that's not completely legitimate. So I think the Trump coin really broke the meme coin market for a while. But yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's absolutely time to start shifting away from just being exclusively on Ethereum or exclusively on Sol. Like, you should always be multi-chain. I've said this many times, that this is the future, and like it's important to have exposure to all of those different chains. And then if you look at my position, it's the same. Like, you see all the different blockchains. Like, I'm not focusing on just one blockchain. To me, that's not. I want to focus on the ones that I believe in the most, right? And that's Bitcoin, Doge, Sol, Sui, ETH, ZK. It's okay, Base, and that's about it. And it still remains to be seen, like whether or not Abstract and Sonic and Monad are going to do well. Like nobody really knows. But getting some exposure to those is definitely important. And then, what are your thoughts on hats? And then, if there's any questions, please just ask them in the chat or in the thread. What are your thoughts on Hat's recent partnerships with Formine? I mean, to me, I'm extremely bullish on TopHat. I still believe it's down. It went down like literally 92%. So at this point, I don't know how much further down it can go. Realistically, though, I will say that there's definitely a possibility, worst case, that it hits 5 million. Like there's no, like you literally have no, you have almost no support at all at this level. There's no support. Where we're at right now is just, it's a free drop. And the only next level of potential support, which is very weak support, is around 5 million. So if we do get another altcoin purge, it could easily bottom at 5 million, which I think would be absolutely, catastrophic for a lot of people. However, because it's already gone down so much, but that would be the next logical landing spot. And my hope, my hope is that that doesn't happen, right? My hope is that that does not happen, and we, yeah, my hope is that we're done, right? And my hope is that the bleeding stops sometime soon. And I'm still extremely bullish on the fundamentals of the project itself. Um, I mean, they have so many partnerships. They partnered with the Ronin network. They partnered with the leading pump fund equivalent on the Binance Smart Chain and Four Memes. They've partnered with Virtuals and the Base ecosystem. The terms and conditions of that partnership are not revealed, uh, but I'm very eager to hear from their team on when they're going to start disclosing those. They've partnered with the Abstract blockchain, so they're doing all the right things. They're making all the right moves. But the price action is just so incredibly depressing. Uh, but I think my hope is that we've bottomed. But every time I feel like we've bottomed, we go further low. Like I thought 15 was the bottom, and then we just went down another notch. I don't. It's hard to say exactly when. That's why I don't like to predict timing or try to predict levels. I just want to buy into positions, DCA in, scale into positions long term, and see where they go. But I still believe in TopHat. I'm planning on meeting with the founder and head woman in charge, Patricia. So my challenge with TopHat though is that I just think there's such clear low-hanging fruit quick winners that can be implemented that they're not doing yet. And I would almost argue that they should be prioritizing those quick wins above what they're doing with this multi-chain scaling and partnerships. Like I like that they're creating the AI agent framework that could be used as a library of resource for other chains and other launch pads and marketplaces, which is good. That's brilliant. But I think the easier way to grow TopHat and to get back to 100 million and let it grow to 1 billion is to do some of my ideas. And like to me, some of them are so easy. One of them is they should create liquidity pools denominated in hat. Like Aliyah, you know this, and I've said this so many times to them. When you go to the virtuals ecosystem, right? The problem is when you go here, every single coin that you see is denominated in virtual, right? And the thing is, that's massive. Like that's such an important distinction that they have, because you can go in here and you can buy the greed token. This is a different greed token, but you can buy the greed token with your virtual. So there's immediate concrete utility for the token. So creating a liquidity pool that's denominated in virtuals was brilliant. And we don't have that in TopHat. This is the problem with TopHat, right? So if you go to TopHat and you go to any of their tokens, it's not denominated in that token. It's denominated in any currency that you want, primarily Sol. And then now they have this OKX integration, but you can use any token. So by doing this, you're attracting potentially a broad base of users that can be onboarded into your platform, but you're diluting the utility and value of the HAT token. And I think the price reflects that. Like, I think that's been a challenge. And then the second idea was when you go to the virtuals tokens, you go to any token on virtuals, you'll see, so I'll show you. So you'll see that anytime you see virtuals, it always says buy virtuals. See? AIXBT buy virtuals. Billy Bets buy virtuals. Game buy virtuals. This is such a simple metadata change that they could make for TopHat launches. And they've already reached 11,000 tokens that have been launched on the TopHat platform. It's such a simple win. It should be : buy TopHat. It should be RM9000 by TopHat. It should be Quant XBT by TopHat. But the problem now is when you go to RM9000, no one has any idea that it's associated with TopHat. This is my problem. So I just think this is such an easy to implement win for TopHat. And then there was several other ideas that I pitched to them. And it seems like the community liked the ideas, but now we just need them to implement it. So that would be these are like, I'm concerned that if they don't implement these though, I don't know if we're going to be able to reach multiple billion, which is what my hope and anticipation was. My hope was that we would get to multi-billion if they can implement these simple to implement ideas. All right. Okay. So I got one question here. Is there a single good agent built with TopHat? Isn't the biggest problem that standard LLM agents are lame and way too many were created and most don't have any value? So yes, this is the problem with all top systems. And on that point, I don't expect TopHat and Sui AI to do anything until we have a recovery of virtuals. It's just the name of the game. Like, to me, this is the beacon for the entire AI agent meta and the entire investment narrative. We need this to grow, right? The big reason I said in January 1st, when I issued my aggressive take profit warning for everyone in Blockcircle, was because I saw this flip over, right? And that was the perfect time to completely exit the market into stable coins. So I exited some, but I should have exited all of it at that point because it was clear that there was going to be a massive correction. I was expecting a 20 to 40%, not a friggin', 85% correction. I mean, look at this, 82%. But we're not going anywhere until this turns around. And until then, I can keep seeing TopHat bouncing around between worst case scenario 5 million all the way up to 15 million. I could keep seeing it within that range. Potentially even 10 to 20 million. It could be in that range if we don't have another capitulation with altcoins. And it's on the Solana ecosystem. So I think it's smart that they're branching out to multiple chains because that lessens the dependency on Solana as a platform. And I really like the agentic framework angle and the library of reference that they're trying to pursue. That's very smart. But I just don't expect it to do well until this turns around. It's not turning around anytime soon. Like, it's just lower highs and lower lows. There's no, is this the bottom? I don't know. Because I was hoping this was the bottom, and then we went down another 50% below that. So it's, we were massively oversold on the daily, on the 4 hour, 6 hour, 12 hour, 1 day, 3 day. Not completely oversold yet. We're still not even oversold on the weekly yet. So this could definitely continue down to 50 cents. I was hoping it doesn't happen, but It seems like maybe all indications are pointing to one more purge. And maybe at that point, we finally hit the rest of these levels, which is sad because these are all my worst case scenarios and it looks like they're all being hit. I didn't want that to happen, but that's just the reality that we're in. Now, in terms of your question about the integrity of the Top Hat agent, so Colin is really good. Colin, I think, is brilliant, smart, very intelligent design, because what they're doing is creating an entire influencer network of AI agents that function as content creators on social media, and that they can like promote and function as like help agents for different projects to help answer questions. And they have like a voice and they can attend live streams and you could like bring them on and invite them and you could have a conversation with them and they could talk about their views on the market or their views on a particular sector, which is really cool. I think that's awesome. But Top Hat also has launched more functionality to augment the power of their AI agents. So I think they're doing what they need to do. GemXPT is freaking awesome. I love this. This probably is one of my favorite. And I hold GemXPT, I hold Roastmaster 9000. QuantXPT is excellent too. These two are very good. And but I think the true developers are not relying just on Top Hat. They're just relying on Top Hat for the initial launch, and then scaling their AI agent using their own frameworks and their own software development kits. So, but I agree. It's most of these are just glorified chatbots, and GemXPT and QuantXPT are growing beyond that. And yeah, so that's my view on it. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, now I've learned there seems to be a new meta, robotic AI. Do you think it's worth digging into? 100% it's worth digging into. So let me try to give you an example here. So there was a robotic AI presentation that was, I'll show you. So I wrote some notes about it, but I wrote this a while ago. Let me try to open it here so you can see it. So basically, this was more than a year ago. This is almost a year ago. I've always been obsessed with humanoid robots. Like this is something I've been like obsessed with for close to almost 2 decades at this point, but they haven't really grown until recently. And these are some of the topics that I'm interested in. So there was like the NVIDIA Project Groot, which was being led by Jim Hoon. There was the embodied AGI. There was the humanoid like robot learning. To me, this was like a huge burgeoning space that was going to continue to grow in popularity. There was this whole teleoperation, digital twins. Like this is to me is something particularly interesting with robotics AI, because and how that fits into crypto, it still remains to be seen. But all of these crypto to me is the currency for AI and for humanoids and androids and human androids and all of the different variants of robots that they have, which just would be incredible. Like I can't wait to be able to see that. What else? There was another one I wanted to show you. Oh yeah, 1X and Agility Robotics are two other ones that I would look at for sure. And then there was another one today that was just released. It's called Figure AI, and you should definitely look at that too. Helix, Figure AI. This one is awesome. It's a vision language model, and they had like a demonstration where they asked these two humanoids to go and distribute all of the groceries that the man had picked up. And here, this is the video, and you could see it. So he's giving the groceries, and then he just asks them with simple instructions: go and put away all of the groceries. And it's honestly fascinating. It's fascinating. So to me, these models, this whole behavioral based collective data and all the models that go with it are going to be amazing. So I think there's definitely going to be like a crypto meta to that, where everything will be robotic AI. But I feel like some of that has already even happened. be honest with you. Like every other meme is looking at AI. But yeah, that to me is very good. I talked about this around the Sol reaching 100%. Like to me, on this near certainty, we're going to hit 500 to 600. It basically already peaked at 300 as a mid market cycle top. So I don't see why we're not above 500 by the end of this year. Like at least that would be my hope at minimum. Can we track the win rate of Alpha Hunter across 7-day, 15? Yes. So this is exactly what I talked about in the Alpha Hunter thread. And then if you go through and listen to the audios that I left some long audios. I would definitely recommend you listen to them because there was one, because I talk about this. I talk about how, like, listen to these progress updates. Where are they? I left like too long. Yeah, I left too long these ones from 217. I left these are progress updates, and when you go through them, you'll see that I talk about the importance of just being patient and waiting because we keep iterating and improving the prototype for the Alpha Hunter, and we keep launching new versions. And with every subsequent launch, the tokens that are coming through are going to continue getting better and better and better. And right now, we're really only focusing on Solana Pump Fund as version 1. And then we're scaling to version 2, which will look at other blockchains, of course. And that's all part of the roadmap. But right now, it's very meme heavy, right? So it's very skewed towards memes and it's skewed towards rug pulls. Even though we're excluding 99% of the noise, the 1% that comes through is still, many of them are near instant rug pulls from memes. So by avoiding memes and by focusing only on utility coins that are actually launched by the project, you can eliminate a lot of the noise yourself, you know? So it's just too early. Like somebody was asking recently, when Jax, right? He was asking, it would be great to deep dive into the specific tokens. He wants to see, common performing indicators of potential success, right? And then I posted, but we need to wait. We need like a few months. We need a few months to collect all of the data and then be able to track the performance of those projects. So hopefully that makes sense. And then I would love to know your thoughts on Pengu, their community. Listen, man, like I've talked about Pengu Penguins. I love everything about them. I love the community. I love the Pudgy NFTs, like the entire movement behind them. I think they're absolute brand marketing geniuses. Who doesn't love just like beautiful, cute penguins? Problem with these is that they've suffered. They've suffered like the rest of the market has suffered. I mean, it's gone from 3 billion to now less than 500 million, right? I mean, they've suffered just like the rest of the market has suffered. There's just no way around it, you know? So like this is the challenge, right? Is it's literally has exploded initially as part of the launch. And then now it's down. It's just suffered like everyone else. Suffered 88%. Look, these are market leading coins, right? This one's down. This is Bio, which is the leading decentralized science coin. This is down 90%. So even Doge is down 60%. Doge went down 60%. So how do we expect Pudgy Penguins to go up when really it's just a glorified meme that's been bringing the entire community together around not just our love for penguins, but love for crypto and love for something that's just a little different. But this is just we're in a sort of mini bear market right now. We just have to wait until this subsides and the conditions start improving. But I do believe that it's going to survive. I do believe it's going to come back. There's no question in my mind that it will come back. So look, I'll show you. We've been tracking this when the price was at 10,000, below 10,000, right? It was literally below 10,000. Here. So full screen like that, just like this is good. So we were tracking this for the longest time. We tracked this for multiple years now, and it stayed below 10,000 for a long time. I mean, this is very good level to potentially buy some Pudgy Penguins NFTs, to be honest with you. Because it's at 20,000 now, right? So it went from, yeah, that's unbelievable. That went from over 120, 137 all the way down to 20 now. This could definitely be a good level to buy. Around around 8 ETH. Yeah, that could be good. That could definitely be interesting. But I'm not concerned at all about the long-term sustainability of Pudgy Penguins. I mean, it survived the last market crash, so I don't see why it wouldn't survive this one. And it's one of the only NFTs that's actually surpassed its prior all-time high twice now. So yeah, this could. I'm not concerned about it. Okay, the last question. Are there any other questions from anyone else? If there are, just ask, please. Okay, my question is macro focused and related to my portfolio management and strategy. In May 2024, I was fully in stables and gradually started deploying into altcoins from low caps to high caps until December 2024, fine tuning my portfolio along the way. Right now, I'm fully deployed and haven't taken any profits into stables. Instead, I've rotated gains to new projects. I know this is same as me, same as many others. I like took profit like a soldier, but then I rotated all of that profit into other high conviction positions that then all went down like 80, 90%. It's fine. Everything should be fine in a year. My macro outlook, skipping detailed arguments for brevity, is that we'll see an ETH BTC push until March and April, followed by a significant market correction lasting until at least August. I expect the end of QT to trigger the real. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much exactly what I was expecting as well. I don't know about the ETH BTC push between March and April. I've talked about ETH BTC many times, and this is why I said several months ago it would be a very good idea to de-risk heavily away from Ethereum. And my concerns were more fundamental in nature and how I love Vitalik Buterin. He's literally one of the only voices that I actually genuinely study and learn and respect. But I think the Ethereum Foundation was suffering from significant cracks and there were some opportunities for improvement there. There were some deficiencies in terms of their governance decisions and how they were prioritizing scaling and expanding to layer twos and their optimization techniques. And when they really, like, they don't want to compromise their decentralized tenants and transaction confidentiality and transaction integrity for like improving speed, right? And for reducing cost of processing transactions. I understand that. But the reason I left all those audios like several months ago was because I could see everyone was just blindly holding Ethereum tokens. And now they're further down. Now they're down even more than they were back then. But I'm not going to, I mean, ETH is definitely at an attractive level, but I don't see how we can't revisit these lows between like 1900 down to 1500. If we have another altcoin purge, going down to 1500 and below is very much in line with Solana going below 100. Like, we're not that far off. This is the key Solana level that I wanted to hold was 180, and we haven't held it, right? We've gone all the way down to 159. So we're not that far away from going to 127. And if we close the daily and the weekly below 127, then there's no reason to think that we're not going to go below 100. So if that happens, then I think Ethereum is going to go down to 1500 and below. And if that happens, those would be like the best levels ever to buy if you don't have any exposure for others. But for me, ETH BTC is, I thought it would bottom at 0.03. Again, that was my worst case target, and it hit. So, and now we went all the way down to 0.023. Like, how much further do we need to go? Do we need to go back down to 0.016? I find that very unlikely to happen. But there's definitely some support here at 0.02. So to me, I'm not going to expect it to to explode until I can start seeing ETH/BTC gaining some strength, and until I see others Bitcoin gaining some strength, and until I see Bitcoin dominance slowly dropping. Right now, Bitcoin dominance just continues to set new highs. Because if you remember, my Bitcoin dominance worst case target was 65%, and we just hit it. Like my hope was we were going to stay within 60 to 65, but 65 being close to being the worst case target, and we just hit 64. So Ethereum is going to have a bit of a hard time. But I'm a lot more bullish on Ethereum recovering this year than it just continuing to collapse lower and lower. Long term, I still believe in Ethereum long term. That's my main point. And I love Sui. I would definitely take a look at Sui too. Sui went down a lot from its high. It went down a lot from its high. And Sui also went down 55%, right? So it went down 55%. So it's a lot more than Ethereum going down from 4,000 to 2,300. The other thing with Sui, though, that worries me was we were in its upwards channel for a while and we broke below it. There's just not a lot of support here, going all the way down to $2. The other problem with Sui is that they have suboptimal tokenomics. I've talked about that for so long, so I don't want to, rehash that out. But I don't like their tokenomics. It's always been my concern with it. And then the last thing you're saying, my plan is to move 60 to 80% into stables by April to avoid major drawdowns, to then start gradually deploying. What are your thoughts? Most of these assets are down 80 to 95%. So if we do have one more altcoin purge, then if you sell now, then you can rebuy at that point. But who knows with certainty if that's going to happen? Like we already got the U.S. Federal Reserve FOMC. Has the live stream been postponed? What do you? No, it's here. Aren't you seeing it? Right. I'm not sure why he's not seeing it. That's weird. Okay. So, but that's the challenge, right? Is you have to. Who knows for sure whether or not these levels are going to hit? The problem is that altcoins are not gaining really any kind of sustained strength, right? But the S&P 500 just set a new all-time high yesterday. And in the past, it's really good, favorable for crypto when the stock market continues to trend higher and continues to set new highs. So if it continues to set new highs, then all we need at that point is for crypto to start outperforming it. And that's what I'm using for these two custom metrics. And right now it's trending down. So what would happen if the US Federal Reserve stops quantitative tightening and then starts just trying to stabilize the market, right? And if they stop selling, then there'll be more liquidity for the market. More people are going to be willing to take a little bit more risk. And when that happens, I think market conditions can improve. They could literally stop quantitative tightening next week. They can start 2 weeks from now. They can stop 3 months from now. We don't know exactly when they're going to stop. We already know that they're under immense internal pressure from other board members to stop their quantitative tightening procedures. And you can already see that. Like if you just look at the meeting notes, you can see board members like this. You can talk about here. See this? Of course, this is going to be gate capped here. 1 second. Let me show you this article. So yesterday, the US Fed Reserve FOMC meeting notes were showing that people were talking about the there. There is potential for quantitative tightening to stop slightly earlier than previously anticipated. This is very important. The fact that there's already internal tension and disagreement in terms of this continued quantitative tightening going into Q2, I think is very good for us as high risk crypto holders and speculators and investors. Because my expectation is that he would probably stop around May. But what if he doesn't? What if he stops earlier? Right? I think the most important thing, though, to be honest with you, is you need to make sure you have enough cash and enough runway for the next few months. Like if we do have it's very simple. So if we're expecting another altcoin capitulation and one more purge over the next 30 to 60 days, if that happens and that materializes, how mad would you be if your portfolio is down another 50%? If you're not ready to experience that, then I would definitely de-risk and sell a little bit now and hold them into stables. Now, at least maybe 5-10%, just so you can have that. And if you need the runway, if you're, because I think just believing that there's going to be a turnaround is very difficult. I would just keep checking, keep monitoring it. Like if you ask me, right? Ask me, does the market look stronger now than it did like 2 weeks ago? And I'll be honest with you, and I'll always tell you, right? Because right now, ETH-BTC is still not, we don't know, right? There was a double bottom here, and then it continued going down. But we don't know if this is it, if this is the recovery we wanted, because we still haven't broken out of this trend line. So just hoping that this is the end, I think, is very difficult. Like I would not expect this to be the end until we have a very clear break. We have a clear break of this trend line, and then we also have a break of this trend line. If we do, then I would be a lot more bullish. Then I would be a lot more bullish that your potential scenario can materialize and can play out. But if we get rejected and we continue to go down, then I don't think it would be wise to expect a huge recovery for Ethereum in March and April. You know, the other thing I wanted to mention was presidential years. When you're looking at post-presidential years, they tend to the financial ROI and the performance of stocks post-presidential years is a little shaky the first few months because the incoming president, the incumbent president, is gonna he or she they're announcing their plans and policies, and it takes a few months for things to just stabilize as the market starts digesting and processing what their plans are. And like Trump right now is imposing overly strict tariffs and bilateral tariffs and reciprocal tariffs, and he did it for Canada, China, and Mexico, and then he did a 30-day pause. But that 30-day pause is going to end very soon, and we still don't know, and we don't have concrete clarity on exactly what the terms are going to be at the end of the 30-day pause, and we don't know what's going to happen with the European Union country-based tariffs that he's going to impose on them. He's already starting to impose tariffs on smaller imports of less than $900, which in the past they weren't being taxed. So that heavily impacts like all Temu consumer purchases. You know, Temu is like a huge competitor. So you have all these things happening, and we don't know. So the market's not entirely sure on how to process all of this information. So you have these macroeconomic fiscal policies being driven by Trump that's causing uncertainty. You have the geopolitical risks that's causing uncertainty tied to the wars. And so it's going to take a few months for things to just stabilize. This is another big reason I was saying that I'm not expecting fireworks with altcoins, because you need some kind of stability. You need conditions to just calm down before for people to speculate a lot more than they have now. You can see there's still a lot of fearfulness. Okay, what are the other questions? Okay, I think I've covered all the questions so far. Are there any other questions you want me to cover at all? Is there anything else you want me to review? For now, I think I'll talk about the Alpha Hunter. So I'm hoping you all have been looking at the Alpha Hunter, because to me this is probably one of our proudest accomplishments. In one sentence, if you haven't been looking at it, it's a separate channel, and to me, I think it's a complete game changer. What it's doing is it's trying to track new project launches immediately upon launch. And it's trying to track projects that are being bought and accumulated by market insiders, whales, profitable traders, people of prominent influence and position in the market. And they're buying them at like 50K market cap, 60K market cap. And some of them go up to 300, 400 million market cap. So right now there's still noise, because again, we're focusing only on Solana Pump Fund. And the reason we did that is because it's by far the most complicated platform on the most complicated blockchain, which is Solana. But we did it, right? So the foundation is built now. So now we can improve it and scale it. And you could see another feature we added is exactly where the balance is for the whales. So this helps us immensely. It's saving so much time, because now we know that whale 1 initially had $312 worth of this token and now reduced it to $26. Whale 2 had 218 and then sold. So you'll see 4 scenarios now. You'll see when the whale is sold, when the whale has held their position steady, when the whale has accumulated their position, increased it, and when the whale has reduced their position size, so has sold some. And it's awesome. So like just this morning, I bought this one, which is a legitimate project. So DMXE is tied to the Psychedelics DAO, which is a DeSci project that I'm bullish on and supportive of, and it's a real project. And we caught it really, really early. So I'll give you. So this is what the whales are doing. So one whale went from 1633 to now having a little less than $5,000 worth, and now 4,000. You just saw it being updated. Whale 2 and 3 sold. Whale 4 sold, and also whale 5 sold. So this could be interesting. The problem with this whale, though, is he or she had 49 million worth of the token, and then has been selling steadily through like time-based weighted average selling. So here, so if you look at what they have, you can look at exactly how much he has. So let me pull it up by contract address. But yeah, this one went up like 15x from launch all the way to the peak. And then now it's gone down to like 350. So here. Okay. So they still have 12.6 million. The last time they sold was an hour ago. But initially, you'll see they had 49 million. So they sold for 2 hours and then stopped. They sold about 2/3 of their position, and now they have 12 million. They've just been holding. So, but yeah, this one was a good one. Another really good one was Hurricane. This one absolutely exploded. This one absolutely exploded to multiple million. Now it's being launched on. See, it went from, we caught it at 100K. We literally caught it on 100K and then went up all the way to 6 million. So to me, I can't wait till we start branching out to beyond Solana Pump Fund. And when we start including all of Solana launches, I think would be incredible. That's what I'm really excited about. So, all right, everyone, if there's no other questions, I think we'll wrap it up. All right. Thank you all. Appreciate it.